Morning.
Morning. Penny fish couple.
Like always.
Arne, I think both yourself and Virgil were in agreement on Wednesday night after the game that, certainly in saying that Alisson is the best goalkeeper in the world. Just tell us, from your point of view, what really sets him apart.
Saving, saving ball, saving shots. It's probably one of the most important things a goalkeeper has to do. No, I think to become the best goalkeeper in the world, you sometimes need to make saves that others wouldn't make, and I think he had one or two of them Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday it was, and in general it was a bit exaggerated talking about 27 shots. He didn't have to make 27 saves, but he had two world class saves in big moments for us. Because if you go 1-0 down, then the game would even be harder than it already was being 0-0.
You've made a point a few times this season of saying that not often have you got more than you deserve. I just wonder, is Wednesday an example of that turning around a little bit and developing the opposite kind of habit, which could be crucial now in maybe delivering 3 trophies?
That's a long question, but I leave the little bit out, I would say. We weren't a little bit lucky. We were really lucky. But, as Michael Jordan said once, the harder you work, the more luck you have. And this is the biggest compliment you have to give the players. They've worked incredibly hard, and I think even the second half, we didn't control ball possession. We were not the dominant team at all, but we controlled them better than in the first half. And that also has to do with the players being able, if you were 45 minutes, the other team had the ball a lot, you had to defend so much, mentally so strong and physically so strong to come up with the second half performance with not giving away that many open chances as we did the first half. And even scoring a goal on the counter-attack, that shows you how mentally strong and physically strong these players are.
Again though, I mean, we talk about situations like that, and there's a saying in English football that your name is on the cup when you have situations like that. Do you look at it like that and think that this is that mentality, that ability to get over the line when you haven't been necessarily your best performance of the season? How crucial is that when you're going for trophies on all 3 fronts?
If you want to win something, if it's the Premier League or the League Cup or the Champions League or the FA Cup, you need to have once in a while a game where you don't play your best football and you are lucky, which is maybe not luck if you work as hard as we do, to get away with a result. There are almost no teams that play 38 games, or in the Champions League is not as much, only good football. I think Real Madrid is one of the best examples of that. They also find a way to win a game if the other team is better than them. And that's what they did, but I'm not looking at all at the Paris Saint-Germain game anymore. Our full focus, my full focus is now on Southampton, which is the first of 3 finals to be played in the upcoming week.
And therefore, how much has Wednesday taken out of the players, and how does it impact then team selection? Because obviously there is that second leg to come, and then there is a cup final against Newcastle as well.
Yeah, but for me the one against Southampton is by far the most important. Not only because it's the first one we play, but it is a very important one for us. So if I make the choice to play other players, that is because I think that's the biggest chance to win the game tomorrow, and not because I want to rest them for the game against Paris Saint-Germain. So the only way I make a change is because maybe it's only 2 days in between, and then I might feel that playing someone else is a better option because we have many players that are of equal quality. But that then only has to do with us getting a bigger chance of winning the game against Southampton than it has anything to do with the Paris Saint-Germain game.
Sure. Morning, Anna. What goes through your mind when you are deciding team selection? Because I know the old cliche is it's one game at a time. But in your mind, do you actually probably know your lineup against PSG and the cup final? Do you think that far ahead?
No. No, not as much as you might think. Of course, you do know what to expect now from Paris Saint-Germain. You do know what to expect from Newcastle. But for me, the most important game is the one against Southampton. And if there would be 3, 4, 5 days in between these two, the last game and this one, I would have probably started the same 11 again. even if there was only 2 days in between for the next one. But since there's only 2 days in between, and we had to fight really hard, and it's not the first game after being 3 or 4 weeks out. It's probably the 50th game in 3 months. I don't know how many. So you take that into account, but you take the quality from the team you face, you take the form of the players, you take how fit they are, which players are best fit best together. So if you look at, we started off with Lucio and Jogo, where Jogo is a type of player, 9.5 for me almost. He's almost a midfielder as a striker. And then I finished the game with Curtis, who's a midfielder from the left, and Darwin, who's more of a real 9. So these combinations you look at depending on the opposition and the formation of the other team. The good thing for us is, because you guys are till now only focused on Paris Saint-Germain, is that Southampton has the same formation if they have the ball as Paris Saint-Germain has. So now we need to do much better without the ball, so to press Southampton than we did against Paris Saint-Germain. So it's another good test for us.
I think only Nottingham Forest have used fewer players than Liverpool in the Premier League. Do you like having a kind of tight squad like that, or in an ideal world for a manager, would you have a bigger squad?
I see the advantages of playing mostly with the same team because they get used to each other, so that helps. But I also am aware of the fact that you cannot play a season with 11 players, so that's why you saw sometimes players rotating. And I don't do this with 20 or 25, but mostly with 14, 15, if possible. And the other ones don't always get the playing time they deserve. I think Harvey Elliott is a great example of that. He's done so well for this club. He trains well, but he's in competition with Mo Salah and Dominic Szoboszlai. And now, I don't think Mo was happy that I took him off 5 minutes before the end, if I looked at his body language. And there's a reason for that, because he is a player that can score a goal for us, even if he's not even playing his best game. That's why I hardly take him off. Now I did, and Dominic Szoboszlai is, yeah, you could call him a machine. Every time you play him on the pitch, he's the one that runs most, and that's it makes it sometimes hard for Harvey. That's why I like it so much how he did when he came in. Only 5 minutes. Some players are sometimes frustrated if they only get 5 minutes, but in our team that has never happened. Maybe once or twice. But in general, it's never happened. Yeah.
You mentioned Simon's body language there. I just wonder, does the hunger of some of the more senior players in the squad make rotating and making the substitutions difficult for you?
To be clear, that is not the headline that Mo was frustrated. I could see that he would have preferred me not to take him off, but his behavior was completely normal. He shook hands. He just probably thought, maybe there's one chance to come and I will score that one. And to be fair to him, he always does that. So people now say, a good substitution because Harvey scored. I think if I ask him, he would tell me if I would be there, I would have scored the same ball as well. He had a completely normal reaction, but not only the ones that like you probably mentioned, like Mo and Virgil, and the ones that won the league before. I think all of them show great character till now this season, and that's also what we need tomorrow again against Southampton, because they are not playing as a team that is bottom of the league. They take a lot of risk. They go man for man all over the pitch. That's the same what Paris Saint-Germain does, and they probably saw how difficult we had it over there with that game plan. So I'm expecting the same for tomorrow.
It's another game where you'll be managing not on the touchline. I just wonder, from the game you played previously against Newcastle, I know a lot of managers have spoken in the past that sometimes they get a good tactical view from up there, they analyse the game maybe a bit better, they like to spend time both up there and down the touchline. Just wondered what your view on that was and how you sort of saw the game last time.
Yeah, I think I have the same opinion. The only difference between now and 5, 10, 15 years ago is that we have all iPads and MacBooks on the sideline, so we have the same view if I look at that screen. So it's not necessary to take a suspension to have Yeah, the view is better, but I always feel that if you're at down the line or at the line, you feel a bit more the emotions. You feel better the strength of both teams. If players are tired, yes or no, then if you are up there, the game goes a bit slower. Where I'm sitting tomorrow, it's an easy game to play. But if you are standing at the same level, everybody will say, "Ooh, it's harder to play this game than I expected when I'm sitting so much higher." So. It's not ideal, but I've said before with John, I think I have a very good replacement. He did so well at Ajax Amsterdam, and he did really well in his first game in charge as well.
Just go back to the goalkeeping situation. Alisson's been the long-held number one here for such a long time. You signed Mohamedashvili last summer to come next year. Is it important to keep providing that competition for Alisson to keep getting the best out of him? I'm not saying you're not getting the best out of him, but with him being number one for so long and being almost unchallenged, does he need that competition to keep him at the highest level?
Yes or no, because he has great competition with Queef Keller now as well. So if that is what drives him, then maybe it helps him to have such a good number two behind him. But I don't think he needs that. He's just a top professional, like all of the boys over here, and they know what it means to wear this shirt. You have to bring in top performances, otherwise you can't play for this club. And you always know if you are here, if you're a midfielder, an attacker, a defender, or the goalkeeper. If you don't do well, there's someone else that can do the job for you. If it's Queef, we also have Fidjaros, which is a very, very, very talented goalkeeper as well. So goalkeeper-wise, we are in a good, in a good, how do you say this? In a good, good place. Yeah.
And you sort of touched on this already before, but after the PSG game, I guess you have metrics that you measure physical exertion that players have, but how do you assess sort of what's taken out of them mentally in terms of the pressure they were under in that game and how they dealt with it? Do you see that sometimes it affects them?
No, that's difficult to measure, but that's definitely something. That's something you also feel when you are at the touchline, and it's definitely something you take into account because you can only look at the data, and probably then they've run just as much as some other games. But there's a difference if you have 70% ball possession, or you have only 30% ball possession. That means the runs you have to make are more from a negative mindset. If they have the ball all the time, it's not as nice as if you have the ball yourself. So you do take that into account as well, and of course 3 or 4 months without any break, you take these things in account as well. But that's why, of course, how do you say this? Good advantage for the second game, but it mentally helps, of course, a lot as well to score that goal. So we're in a good place, but like I said, 3 finals to be played in a week. Again, after this one, with only 2 days in between. Yeah, a week to look forward to for every Liverpool fan, and I know if the final is there and everybody is already talking to me about how the atmosphere will be on the Champions League night. But I truly hope that our fans will be as loudest tomorrow, and not in the final and not against PSG, but tomorrow.
Is that because of the position of this game between those two ties? It's almost like people take it for granted that Southampton bottom of the league, it should be easier for you, but that's where the danger lies in this match.
Yeah, I have to convince my players that we play 3 finals, like I said now a few times, and I'm hoping, and that's why I every time come up with the word final, that I influence our fans a bit as well, that they understand how important they're going to be tomorrow. So I'm hoping they will not come into the stadium 5 minutes before the kickoff. I'm hoping the whole stadium is already completely filled half an hour before kickoff, and that these players get the reward for what they did in Paris, for working so hard. So they have great songs. Sometimes when I look at social media, I see these songs coming from Lucio and from Virgil and from Maka, and they are really creative in these songs. Now let's hear them before the game tomorrow, although I'm in the stands. but
You can choose.
yeah, maybe I can start him with Isaac. Isaac is always this little boy. Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
Thank you.
No.
Firstly, Arne, I wanted to check on the status of Cody Gakpo, how close he came mid-weekend. Is he available for this game at the weekend?
He didn't train yesterday yet, so let's see if he can train with us today. Again, close call, and that will probably be. It's not a long-term injury, but yeah, he still had a bit of pain yesterday, so he was not able to train. Let's see where he is today. So I can't give you the answer yet.
And with the game against Southampton, the last time there was a relegation threatened team came to Liverpool was the Wolves game. Liverpool got themselves into a very good position in the first half. Then the second half kind of relinquished that position a little bit. Wolves had 10 shots to Liverpool 0. If you're in a similar situation in this game, do you know what you need to do to maybe maintain that dominance for the whole 90 minutes?
Now we have to act differently than we did in the second half, but it's not always only up to us. It was also the quality of Wolves, and I think they have a much better season than the league table shows you. But we're not here to talk about Wolves. We're here to talk about Southampton, and it's also a team that takes a lot of risks in their pressing. So they are not afraid to go 1v1 all over the pitch. So if you are not sharp or you underestimate things, or it's just because they are more aggressive in certain moments, they can immediately hurt you, and that's also what Wolves did the second half. First half they were maybe a bit lower, defending a bit deeper, where in the second half they had nothing to lose and they just came at us. And we did had one or two answers, because I think we scored a goal which was offside and we had a penalty that was turned over, both correct. But yeah, if a team takes that many risks, we saw this with Paris Saint-Germain as well, it's hard to play through it. But if you only do it once or twice in the right way, it immediately leads to a goal, and that's what we saw just before half-time against Paris Saint-Germain, when Jot was 2-3-1 with Luis Diaz, and we saw this in the last minute where Harvey was completely free and Darwin saw him, and we scored a goal.
Mandy, plus one.
Hi Arne. You mentioned luck earlier. Do you think things have gone in Liverpool's favour this season when you consider things like injuries to other teams and so on?
If you think injuries are only a part of luck or bad luck, then we've been lucky. But we tend to try to believe in the fact that we try to prevent them from a certain way of working. So that we don't have many injuries, I don't see that as luck. I see this as, first of all, top professionals. Our players do everything to stay fit, and second of all, great facilities and a great staff. But yeah, you need to show this over a longer a period of time to consider it luck or bad luck. So if we can continue doing this for years without many big injuries, then it's probably also quality. Although you cannot go through a season in the Premier League and in the Champions League and all these cups we play in this country without any injury. I said it before, Diogo Jota has been out for 3 or 4 months without a start. Alisson Becker has been out for weeks, maybe even months. Trent has been out, Conor Bradley, so Joe Gomez is out now for 3 months. So we also have our injuries, but yeah, you cannot go through a season without an injury. It's more the amount of injuries that you hopefully try to prevent. And it could be luck, but I hope that we do things in the right way. That it's not only luck, but it's also doing things in the right way.
Thank you.
Thank you.